I power walked down to that pile of gummy bears and back. I should probably set the pile out further, or closer, so I can get at them.
So I can get at them. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing today? Happy Tuesday, which means another episode of the Power Up Podcast. It's a show that just keeps itself sharp and up to date of what's happening in pop culture. And that's a wide umbrella term. It can be anime, music, video games, TV shows, XYZ. Whatever we enjoy, whatever suits our fancy. Got a bunch of articles we've got pulled up here, taking a look at what's happening. We've got Crunchyroll apparently has a security breach happening, or it at least has happened already. We've got Variety going after Chuck Norris for some reason. So we'll take a look at that as well. Some gaming news and all that stuff. If you guys tuned in yesterday, you'd realize that nothing was live, at least on my channel, because I was over on Panda Sub 2000 over exclusively on Rumble doing Deathmageddon, faced off against an opponent, Jada Delete, to which in the end I was victorious, but it was a really good, fun competition of video game playing. And I encourage everyone to check out the replay on Panda Sub 2000 over in Rumble, and check out Jada Deletes over as well, because amazing content on both those shows. So that's where I was at, if anybody was wondering why I wasn't gaming yesterday. But today we are with another episode of the Power Up Podcast. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below as we get the show started. Leave a like and subscribe, and if you don't, feel free to leave a dislike. It's all good. Whatever. I'll ignore you anyway. But anyway, there we go. Ba-boop. Oop. It's not fitting my frame. There we go. Ta-da. All right. Starting off, tech for gamers here. We've got some Windows. I am not a fan of Windows 11. Windows 10 was awesome. Not a fan of Windows 11. Some people are trying to make it to where Windows 11 is as much as Windows 10 as possible, but I've kind of been keeping up with the date on this sort of stuff to where a lot of people are not updating Windows 11 and stuff because of it's just not the same anymore. So I found this interesting on how Windows 11 will now feature reduced RAM usage and better responsiveness amid complaints. Well, when all the good developers leave and then all you're left with third-party crap developers and even AI, things are going to suck. But it's amazing on how it's like, oh, we'll release this upgrade to like help out your systems. And it's like, why wasn't it just good to begin with? Windows is notorious for not being easy to run. It's undoubtedly the weakest link of PCs. Well, debatable, at least for me. But I've used Windows for a long time, so kind of been interested in trying to get into Linux as well, which is leading many people to shift to Linux. However, Microsoft is now working to improve optimization to help the system run more efficiently. According to the new report, Windows 11 is set to become a lot more optimized, and it will feature reduced RAM usage and improve responsiveness. So now even configurations with lower memory capacities should run fine. This was a much needed change considering the massive complaints about the high background usage and bad memory management on the platform, but it's yet to be seen how it'll perform in real life. Amazing. So you got your screenshot of what they're planning to do. Windows Insider blog confirms multiple big changes coming to Windows 11 soon. The updated OS will now prioritize what you're using in the foreground and reduce the memory utilization of everything running in the background. So say you have multiple apps open, Windows will give performance priorities to the one currently in front of you for increased responsiveness, while others will be restricted. It's going to be a very welcoming change. Moreover, performance under heavy loads Heavy load is also getting an upgrade. This is good news for people who have baseline RAM configurations like 8 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, considering how the prices have now skyrocketed. So overall, the update is looking robust and is promising to fix a lot of things wrong with the platform. But let's wait and see how it actually performs. Additionally, we could see Windows 12 this year as well, later this year. Really? There's already talk of Windows 12? Oh, dude, that sounds awful. Heck no, for sure, on Windows 12. I don't even need to read this. That right there explains it all. Man, that sounds terrible. My thoughts on this is like all this should have just been done from the get-go, because so many people kept complaining about how the updates have. I think sometimes something happened recently where like some people were running into straight up blue screens where they couldn't even load into Windows because of just one little debug. It's just terrible. Always seems to be a thing with Windows. It's like every other version's like the good version. But that streak might be broken now with that Windows 12. It's like Windows 7 was awesome. Windows 8 was terrible. Windows 10 is awesome. Windows 11 is terrible. It's just that repeat of that that off and on streak that Windows have. I have been curious about wanting to get into Linux though. All right, this comes from Video Game Chronicle here. Surprise, surprise. Another game studio is closing. This is from PlayStation. So PlayStation has closed down on Dark Outlaw Games, the studio founded just last year by former Call of Duty Zombie lead Jason Blundell. So as per Reseteria, Dark Outlaw was in the early stages of developing a project, but will now be shut down. It's the second time Sony Interactive Entertainment has parted ways with Blundell. After his previous studio, Deviation Games, canceled a PlayStation project and closed in 2024. Former Treyarch co-studio head Blundell was one of the lead creators of Call of Duty Zombies mode before leaving Activision in 2020 after 13 years. According to the journalist Jason Schreier, around 50 people are being laid off as part of Sony's latest cuts, including in PlayStation's mobile development arm. Oh, when will it end? Dark Outlaws, the second studio SIE, is closed in as many months following news that it was shutting down Bluepoint. Yes, we read about that as well. In a message sent to staff, PlayStation studio boss Herman Hulst said the decision to close Bluepoint was made due to an increasingly challenging industry environment. Rising development costs, slowed industry growth, changing player behavior, and broader economic headwinds are making it harder to build games sustainable, he wrote. To navigate this reality, we need to continue adapting and evolving. We've taken a close look at our business to ensure we're delivering today while still well-positioned in the future. I have a better idea. How about you take a look back at when you guys were kicking ass with like a shit ton of games, and you just go back to doing that. Instead of, let's see, rising development costs. Well, it's simple. Stop using mode caption. Not everything has to be hyper realistic. So there's one solution for you. Slowed industry growth. Well, that's on your guys' end because you're trying to cater to a bunch of people that don't even care about the industry, or activists. That's another thing you can let go too is fire all the activists. Changing player behavior. Again, you're thinking that the players' behavior is changing, but really they were never players to begin with. I mean, all of this has been repeated, of course, over and over and over again. So at this point, it's like beating a dead horse. But, every now and then you got to have a good time, I don't know, smacking a corpse, I guess. Oh, my goodness. Oh, lordy, lordy. So not just PlayStation. Well, bam, Epic Games. Oh, man. We just have shutdown after shutdown, layoffs after layoffs. My goodness gracious. Epic Games lays off over 1,000 staff, citing Fortnite downturn in popularity. Epic Games has announced a massive wave of layoffs, citing a significant drop off in engagement for their popular sandbox shooter Fortnite. Oh, the developer and publisher is set to lay off over 1,000 employees from across their company due to a quote downturn in Fortnite engagement that started back in 2025. I ain't shedding tears. I never got into Fortnite. Epic CEO Tim Sweeney said they've been spending significantly more than they earn, so the massive number of layoffs will get them $500 million in cost savings across contracting, marketing, and closing some open roles to put the company in a more stable place. Wow. Imagine getting that termination notice and then having them saying, "Oh yeah, we gotta go into cost savings mode. You're fired. You're gone because we're spending too much." Here's the full message. Here we go. Today we're laying off over 1,000 Epic employees. I'm sorry we're here again. The downturn in Fortnite engagement that started in 2025 means we're spending significantly more than we're making. And we have to make a major cut to keep the company funded. This layoff, together with over $500 million of identified cost savings in contracts, marketing, and closing some open roles, puts us in a more stable place. Some of the challenges we're facing are industry-wide challenges: slower growth, weaker spending, and tougher cost economics. Current console sellings less than last generations, and games competing from time against other increasingly engaging forms of entertainment. And some of our challenges are unique to Epic. Despite Fortnite remaining one of the most successful games in the world, we've had challenges delivering consistent Fortnite magic with every season. We're only in the early stages of returning to mobile, optimizing Fortnite for the world's billions of smartphones, and in being in the industry's vanguard, we have taken a lot of bullets in a battle which is only in the early days of paying off for ourselves and all developers. In all honesty, I have never seen anyone ask if only I could play Fortnite on my smartphone. Let me know in the comments. Have you guys heard of anybody saying I need to play Fortnite on my phone? I don't know. It doesn't seem like the smart choice. Since it's a thing now, I should note that the layoffs aren't related to AI. Has to go specifically out of the way to state that. To the extent it improves productivity, we want to have as many awesome developers developing great content and tech as we can. What we need to do is clear. What we now need to do is clear. Build awesome Fortnite experiences with fresh seasonal content, gameplay, story, and live events. Accelerate developer tools with greater stability and capability as we evolve from Unreal Engine 5 and UEFN to Unreal Engine 6. And we'll be kicking off the next generation of Epic with huge launch plans. Huge launch plans, big, beautiful launch plans towards the end of the year. This isn't our first time being here. Epic survived upheavals in 1990s with the move to 2D to 3D with Unreal 1. In the 2000s, building console games with Gears of War, which kicks ass, by the way, awesome game. And in 2012, moving to online gaming with, my mouse is in the way, Paragon and Fortnite. Boo. Each time we rebuilt our foundations and earned a renewed leadership positions. So in other words, everyone's expendable. But I've said that before too, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. Market conditions today are the most extreme we've seen since those early days, with massive upheaval in the industry, accompanied by massive opportunity from the companies that come out as winners on the other side. That's what we're aiming to do for our players, and we aim to bring other like-minded developers in the industry along with the journey to build an increasingly open and vibrant future for entertainment together. At Epic, we pride ourselves in only hiring the industry's best, so it is very painful to part with so many talented people, but not really. I doubt you are that broken up about it. The folks impacted by the layoffs will receive a severance package that includes at least 4 months of base pay, with more based on tenure. We're also extending Epic paid healthcare coverage. So these people are perfectly fine. It's almost better to get laid off at this point. For example, in the US, they'll receive paid coverage for 6 months. We also accelerate their stock options vesting through January of 2027 and extend uh, equity exercise options for up to 2 years. We'll have a company meeting Thursday to talk about the roadmap in more detail. Tim. Yeah, at this point, you might as well just hope and pray that you get let off, because then you'll get that sweet severance package. Amazing. Back to tech for gamers. So, Xbox and Netflix could be working on a shared subscription plan. Just what we need. More of those subscription plans. That's exactly what we need. It has only been a little over a month since Phil Spencer resigned from his role as the Xbox boss, with fake gamer Asha Sharma not succeeding him. Wait, not succeeding him? The new Xbox CEO has already brought notable changes in the short tenure, and her next stop may be to redefine the gaming pass model. You mean, why did they put not in here? I think that's an error. The biggest change would be Xbox and Netflix joining forces to present a bundled subscription model, boosting sales for both these services. Oh my gosh. The prospect of a joint subscription service with both Game Pass and Netflix seems exciting, but it could potentially be a bit expensive. Netflix co-CEO Greg Peters sat for an interview with Information and talked about his meeting with Sasha Sharma. He talked about a potential collaboration between the two companies and, quote, kicked around ideas, end quote, but said that they wouldn't exclude any possibilities. You would have to do it in a way that works for the consumer. It works for both companies. With Netflix being a streaming service and Xbox also doubling down on cloud gaming, this could be a perfect match. Netflix could offer cloud gaming, which also fit well with the company's vision to enter the gaming industry. Peters also discussed the challenge that Microsoft is facing with the Game Pass service, stating, I think Microsoft's still trying to figure out how to make the Game Pass bundle work for Microsoft. It's no secret that Game Pass users have been dropping significantly, primarily due to the recent price hike. Oh, yeah, so just let's do a bundle deal and have it be even more expensive. That's sure to work. Netflix has also started to lose subscribers for the first time in nearly a decade. Oh, poor Netflix. Oh no, poor Netflix. What's up, Scotty? Variety are vile bastards for going after Chuck Norris. Oh, don't you worry. We've got that pulled up. We will get there. We will get there. Via this joint subscription offering, they could potentially bounce back as it aligns with both of their strategies. Well, with both of their strategies. So apparently that is all we know. I think it's a garbage idea because I truly think the majority of people are tired of subscriptions and they just want to own something. Or if they are going to pay subscription, it's reasonable and it doesn't have a price hike every year. Jumping on over to that Park Place. Dennis Quaid calls out Hollywood's double standard for Trump supporters. So this caught my eye. This was 2 days ago. Longtime Hollywood actor Dennis Quaid sees a double standard in his industry when it comes to supporting Donald Trump. President Donald Trump, if you will. His comments highlight a trend widely debated online. While some celebrities voice their opinions freely, many who, like him, love Trump are encouraged to remain silent. The conversation surrounding culture and professional pressure in Hollywood has gone on quietly for decades. Now, with Trump in office, personalities like Dennis Quaid have started speaking out. So Quaid made his comment while speaking with Fox News digital. There's either F Trump from the other side or I love Trump from a few of us who speak about it, he said. And then there's apparently, a quote right here. Of course, there's a double standard, and there's a double standard on everything, Quaid went on. You've got common sense, and then you've got some kind of whipped up scenario where, it might be true, that I could compete in women's sports, or, that I could, whatever, vote twice, or whatever it is. The veteran actor who portrayed Ronald Reagan in a 2024 film is no stranger to working with people who don't share his opinion. He was speaking with, like we stated, Fox News Digital to promote his new Netflix film, War Machine, which stars Alan Ritchson. In 2024, Ritchson made his personal feelings about Trump explicitly clear, alleging that the president is guilty of sexual assault and describing him as a con man. Oh. More recently, Nick Offerman, who worked alongside Dennis Quaid on Sovereign, called Quaid a, quote, crazy Trump guy with a gospel record. He went on to say, right after we finished the movie, he suddenly came out with a gospel country record and went on Tucker Carlson and fucking Hannity too to play his Trump gospel songs. And we were like, what? He's a hero of my life. I looked up to him. He's a great actor. Oh, why don't you just be a man enough and realize that he doesn't need to think like you? Gosh, these people. Which is unfortunate because I do like Nick Offerman in Parks and Recs as Ron Swanson. But it all goes to, never meet your heroes. It can be for both sides. Actors Jon Voight and James Wood have spoken at length about how their support for Trump has had a negative impact on their careers. Woods claims that he was effectively blacklisted at voicing conservative opinions on social media. Less established stars like Gina Carano have been fired from major projects for internet posts that run counter to the views held by the mainstream. Meanwhile, at the Academy Awards, many winners and presenters took the opportunity to make political statements. Before announcing the winner of Best International Feature Film, actor Javier Bardem said no to war and free Palestine. Oh, fuck off. Host Conan O'Brien used the stage to make a crude joke about Trump. Late night personality Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, it's Jimmy Kimmel, so what do you expect? In interviews, Quaid had said, I'm a common sense independent myself, adding, I think I learned more, or I think I lean more conservative in my head, but I'm just for common sense. It's really what I am. Taken as a whole, Dennis Quaid makes a compelling case that a double standard exists within the industry. Whether it sparks a broader conversation that brings about a fundamental change remains in question. However, as politics and entertainment continue to intersect, similar tensions will likely to continue to survive. Well, it's always been a power struggle because Hollywood at one point was very conservative. But, the liberal arts and stuff, unfortunately, you can trace back, and there's just a bunch of stuff where a bunch of insanity was happening. And then it's just been that constant struggle because then conservatives came into Hollywood and made it awesome. And then they sadly got pushed out and overtaken again by the liberals. And then it's been a stranglehold in that industry ever since. I mean, and we all know about the occult and the PDF insanity that happens in deep Hollywood. We all know that. I mean, that's just disgusting. And Trump has revealed a lot of people who they really are. The masks have fully come off, and now they are desperately trying to hold on to whatever power they have, because all the tactics they've used back in the day aren't working anymore. And now it's come to the point of what is it, that X tweet that you see out there where you can't even have conversations with these people anymore because they'll just pretend like they don't know, that they don't know what you're talking about, so that way they can't lose because they're just going to be a bunch of narcissistic assholes who feign ignorance or do the mental gymnastics 24/7. So that's their only way left to fight, is just to pretend that you don't understand what you're talking about. And like, to them, it's like, well, what I'm saying is just how reality works. And it's like, no, you're from fantasy land. And you know you are. You're just being a jackass and pretending not to understand. So we all saw a big controversy about the DLSS 5. So we read once before, I think, from Jensen Wong, stating that people have got the wrong impression. So this might be another statement, I think, where he again has to be like, I understand what the criticism's all about. He says, I don't love AI slop. Jensen Huang says he understands DLSS 5 criticism. DLSS 5 has been under fire ever since its surprise announcement last week. Players have expressed their disappointment with the upcoming tech by calling it AI slop and a TikTok filter. Even game designers have been taken aback by the reveal, with many calling out NVIDIA for using the AI overlay. So now Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, has insisted, ladies and gentlemen, that DLSS 5 is not AI-generated content, but rather content-controlled generative AI. And I think what everyone's complaining about is the fact that it's just AI. More specifically, no one said we need to have this and give this to the developers in order for them to do stuff. I think that's the biggest thing that people are complaining about is that. And the gamers are going, we never asked for this super realistic AI crap. And anybody out there who's like, yeah, all the video games now need to be super high realism and stuff, you're part of the problem, because games don't need to be like that. It never did need to be like that. And that's why people to this day are still playing old school games. So the company's boss has come out once again to defend the new technology, but this time he's saying he understands the critique of the upscaler. He understands. Even with artistic integrity behind the technology, sure, DLSS 5 feels like an AI system idea of what image enhancement in gaming looks like. So in a new interview of Lex Friedman's podcast, Mr. Wong stated that he understands the perspective of gamers regarding DLSS 5, as he doesn't like AI slop himself, and is empathetic towards how fans feel about AI-generated content. Again, not even listening to the complaints as far as I'm concerned. Like, not even listening to the fact of like, yeah, we simply didn't even ask you to like do this at all in general. Like he keeps moving the goalpost. Like the first time he said something like, you got the wrong idea. So immediately defensive. Now like, okay, look, I understand what you're talking about. I understand. I can relate to you. I think their perspective makes sense, and I can see where they're coming from, because I don't love AI slop myself. That's not what it is intended to do. DLSS 5 is integrated with the artist. And so it's about giving the artist the tool of AI, the tool of generative AI. Well, to me, it seems like it was already there. If they wanted to use it, NVIDIA doesn't need to provide it for them. There you go. That's simple. Again, he does not want to accept the fact that no one has asked for it. That's what it ultimately comes down to. No one has asked for this type of DLSS. Scotty says, the AI thing damages the art direction and intention to such a degree, I consider it an affront to art. I do agree. And to me, it looks like it ages them up insanely. Like, especially this Hogwarts Legacy. If you saw the actual video, like, this is supposed to be like a teenager, maybe 25 years old. The dude looks like he's like in his 40s. And this is supposed to be, I think, a student from Hogwarts. Like, no. Ridiculous. And if he really does look like that, or that's what they intended it to, then that's like, I don't know what you're doing with your mocap. But you need to get a younger person in in Hogwarts, unless he's like a teacher or something, or a, what is it, a prefect or a prefect or whatever they call him. So, according to Huang, DLSS 5 is not generated AI slop, as it's a 3D guided upscaler in which the geometry upscaled by the tech is determined by the artists themselves and then embedded in every frame. According to Huang, DLSS 5 is conditioned by the artistry of the artist, with its core purpose being to enhance every single frame while not changing anything. Furthermore, the NVIDIA boss revealed that the system is open, and developers could prompt DLSS 5 in the future to achieve highly specific looks. Artists could show the upscaler an example, and it would generate a similar frame while staying consistent with the artist's style. Therefore, Jensen Huang has claimed that DLSS 5 will be integrated with the artist instead of being a generative AI tool NVIDIA applies in post-processing. This sounds like a bunch of word salad to me. I'm not going to lie. He is desperately trying to say that it's not... Look, you're using AI, but the AI is like doing this instead. That makes it seem like it's generative AI, but it's not. It's like, it tastes like butter, but it's not. You know, it's like, it's this. This is what I get from this guy. He is desperately trying to... It's a good idea. It's like Mr. Mackey when he thinks that the IntelliLink is a great idea for the school and like nothing works. And then at one point he like hires someone just to have her just to fire her to say, well, how are we going to clean up Kim's mess? And everyone's like, okay, let's be real. This was your idea to begin with. It also damages what the environment looks like too, which genuinely takes a player out of the experience and doesn't improve it, as Scotty adds on as well over on YouTube. Yeah. Yep. There's your example right there. See, to me, like over here, if Capcom wanted it to look like this, I think they would have made it. But they went with this. That's it. That's it. This is DLSS is completely unnecessary because if they wanted to make it look like that, they could have. Insane. Insane. What is insane is that the man Chuck Norris has sadly passed away. People are mourning him, remembering all the good times with him. Walker, Texas Ranger lover. His fight with Bruce Lee, all that fun stuff. Well, Jean-Claude Van Damme has broke the ice after Chuck Norris's death as Hollywood's greatest pay their tribute. From bounding into comics. So Chuck Norris's last Instagram post was, "I don't age, I level up." He made this on his 86th birthday, just over a week before the shocking news of his death. According to the family, the Walker, Texas Ranger star passed away peacefully while surrounded by his family, hours after being rushed to the hospital from his home on Hawaii's Kauai Island. Chuck Norris's death marks the end of an era for the action film genre and the martial arts world as a whole, where his macho personality and signature roundhouse kick has immense influence. Mario Lopez made Chuck Norris Doesn't Die. He just completed his mission and went to rest. In a typical Chuck Norris style tribute, a renowned conservative, news of Chuck Norris's death invoked a stream of touching tributes from Republicans led by Donald Trump, who described him as a really good, tough cookie and a great supporter. Texas Governor Greg Abbott also mentioned Norris with a tribute to his long-running CBC show, saying he embodied the toughness, grit, and patriotism that makes Texas supreme. Trump's special envoy to Hollywood and Norris's The Expendables 2 co-star, Sylvester Stallone, also paid his respects, saying, "I had a great time working with Chuck. He was all-American in every way. Great man." From his Expendable 2 co-stars, Schwarzenegger, Dolph Lundgren, to Cobra Kai creator John Hurwitz, martial arts world mourned Chuck Norris's death in colorful tributes all around. However, one tribute spectacularly stood out, as it came from the Belgian American martial arts icon Jean-Claude Van Damme. Good old Jean-Claude Van Damme. Chuck Norris's one-time student and close associate. Their relationship was life-changing, although it ended on a sour note, leading to the divergence of their career paths and decades of silence. Most significantly, Jean-Claude Van Damme was an uncredited extra in Chuck Norris's 1984 film Missing in Action, the film that marked the turning point in their once close relationship. According to Van Damme's childhood friend and training partner, Muhammad or Mikhail Kissi, Van Damme and Chuck Norris had a falling out in the Philippines on the set of Missing in Action. Van Damme apparently abandoned Norris while training, and went to a party after accompanying Chuck Norris to help him train while also acting in the film. The two never featured together in a film again until The Expendables 2, where they don't appear jointly in any scenes either. However, before a longer tribute and a series of photos of him training together with Chuck Norris, Van Damme gave a touching line on his relationship with the legend. "Before the world knew my name, he already believed in me. Rest in peace, brother." Scotty says, "The building doesn't even look the same. Grace looks hideous." Yeah. Scotty also says, "I seriously need to catch up on Chuck Norris media because I feel like I've overlooked an important part of American culture." I said this with a group of friends once. I truly do believe that those of us who grew up in the 90s, born in the 80s, maybe even the 70s, grew up in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, we had the best time because that was probably the best hodgepodge and smorgasbord of pop culture and technology combination that we'll probably ever see again. Maybe down the road, long after we're gone, but I think we were in the right time of experiencing the best of pop culture, the rising of technology, and seeing it, in a way, sadly seeing it what it has become now. But yeah, Scotty, I do think that the passing of Chuck Norris is definitely an important part of American culture, and we're seeing that a lot too. We're seeing that a lot with a bunch of people. Chuck Norris, everybody that we just seemed like they would be here forever, they're gone. I'm dreading when Clint Eastwood goes, and I mean that could be any time. Oh, that would be a sad one because I like me Clint Eastwood. So the nature of their misunderstanding points to the depth of Chuck Norris's no-nonsense personality and unwavering discipline that defined them both on and off the screen. The two met in the early 80s after Van Damme moved to the U.S. to chase his dream of becoming an actor. Thanks to their shared love for martial arts, Van Damme and Chuck Norris became close friends, especially since Norris was the only martial arts star to respond to Van Damme's letter as he sought a training partner across the Atlantic. Van Damme and his friend Kissy moved into Chuck Norris's house. Well, I didn't know that, where they trained for 3 days a week. Chuck Norris helped Van Damme gain his footing in the film industry. He also employed him as a bouncer at his Long Beach pub, Woody's Wharf. Van Damme clearly never lost respect for the man, as he gave more details of the traits that made Chuck Norris a true legend in a slew of tribute posts on his social media. "Deepest condolences on the passing of my friend Chuck Norris. We knew each other from my early days, and I will always respect the man he was. My heart and prayers are with his family. He will never be forgotten," Van Damme said. Nintendo says, "Good evening, Mr. Greg." Hello, sir. Over on Rumble, welcome. How are you doing today, Nintendo? Thank you for stopping by. We are just checking out what's happening in pop culture with the Power Up podcast. And right now we're at the high end of the stream in terms of kind of covering the big articles that kind of really caught my eye, and that is Chuck Norris and Crunchyroll. Scotty over at YouTube says, "A lot of the legends who helped with the image of America and their hopeful future are sadly fading away. MJ was taken from all of us too soon. It would be an understatement to tell if it's influence. Yep. Michael Jackson. Yep. Indeed, indeed. Well, that's great that Van Damme still seemed to have respected Chuck Norris. I didn't even know that, like that comment said down here. I didn't even know they had beef with each other. Wow. Wow, you guys are what? 4 days late reporting on Chuck's passing. I suspect Billy was busy sucking on Tom Lemon's go. Well, someone's a little spicy. I guess he does have a jalapeno pepper right there. Oh, bounding into comics. That's one of the places where I get some articles, but not a whole lot. So, Variety are assholes. Because apparently somebody I guess wrote an article and they are attacking Chuck Norris after his death. Apparently calling Walker, Texas Ranger propaganda. So the death of Chuck Norris has led many to reflect on the action movie's icon life and career. However, a recent piece in Variety uses the moment as an opportunity for grandstanding a political ideology. And I'm wondering if this had to do with the clip of Chuck floating around to where he never really, I guess he was one that never really shared a lot of public opinions, but he did share one talking about how he used to be a Democrat back in the day, but the Democrats back in those days are now the Republicans of this day. So to him, it made sense to switch over to continue to support the people that, share that beliefs, which is fine. I am more on the fact of, because I've heard of that before and I personally don't really believe that sort of thing. I think what the Democrats specifically have tried to do back in the day was all just a facade, and the true masks has slipped nowadays. But that can be the same the same thing for Republicans too. So, but yeah, Variety. Apparently, this douchebag made a piece titled "Chuck Norris was a great action star, but politics may overshadow his legacy." And I'll tell you right now, that's already wrong, because I cannot tell you how many Chuck Norris jokes I've seen. People saying rest in peace, Chuck Norris, and all that stuff. And not once, aside from this douchebag article, apparently, talking about his politics. So this homo is questioning whether there's something insidious about Norris's brand of screen hero. Calling Norris the all-American character type of the muscled action star, the article says that Norris felt commissioned by the military to prove what a good, strong man was. I mean, he served for a little bit. What the hell is this guy talking about? I'm already confused at what this guy's trying to get at. Variety goes on to note that most of the films Norris starred in through the 70s and 80s, called morally simplistic, followed a similar blueprint. The hero is shown muscling into a foreign land or other community to complete a mission or neutralizing the new threat that came into his town. Those stories have entertained global audience for decades. Additionally, they helped forge the legend of Chuck Norris. The problem is not what these films represent. It's the idea that they need reinterpretation. From action hero to cultural punching bag. In 1993, Norris moved from film to television and became Walker, Texas Ranger. The pilot episode shows him making an illegal arrest across the U.S.-Mexican border. Across 9 seasons, Walker often bypassed bureaucracy to bring criminals to justice. Yeah, I mean, he was roundhouse kicking and, backfisting people left and right. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love some sweet justice dished out? No one wants to watch a procedural with a big focus on doing things the right way or having to pause the action to get paperwork approved by the local judge, Variety says. But the black and white, right and wrong simplicity of Walker is propaganda nonetheless. What? Okay. Does he explain more about what he's talking about? Because he literally, like, people like seeing that when it seems like the law is too busy wrapped up in the paperwork and the stuff like that. And finally, someone has had enough and, takes justice in their own hand. Everyone loves a good. Walker wasn't a vigilante per se, but he definitely went outside the law at times, for sure. I mean, I love me a good vigilante movie. Like, I got the Boondock Saints poster back there. You got your Death Wish, Death Sentence, all that stuff falling down. That one's not so much vigilanteism, but that's in a way, well, yeah, kind of. But anyway, what is this guy talking about? Many had hoped that the defund the police movement had finally died out. Variety's loaded language shows it's still alive in some corners of the Hollywood access media. For many viewers, past and present, Walker embodied the kind of common sense justice that modern media often lacks. I agree. That statement right there, the common sense justice. We have so much fluff and garbage in the justice system that something that is just common sense just gets completely pushed out, and people don't get the justice that they should get. Were audience mindless absorbing propaganda, or simply enjoying the timeless thrill of seeing order triumph over chaos? I'm going to go with this later one because that's exactly what it was. You can say it's so corny and out of date, but people understood what it was talking about. See, everything that this person, whoever wrote this, and with these type of people, this is what they try to do. They're trying to make it to where it's like, you guys aren't seeing the real picture. Like, it's all propaganda. We're trying to show you guys that we progressed beyond that and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no. A broken clock is right twice a day, but you're trying to tell us that we need to throw out the clock that's been working forever and put this broken one in, and that's how, and use that one to tell the time. It's like, dear Lord, you guys are retarded. So the piece claims that Walker was never wrong. Good guys and bad guys were neatly defined, and that the show offers folksy wisdom and unhurried pacing. It's a description more suited to a rerun of the Andy Griffith Show than the action-packed martial arts-fueled Walker, Texas Ranger. Subtle reframing, however, allows Variety to ask, is a milquetoast charming version of a lawmaker who lives by his own code even more insidious than a modern anti-hero? It's a question that flips admiration to suspicion, ignoring the very qualities fans celebrated. Was Walker's code unique? While the show simplified procedures for time slotting an audience, viewers still saw a Texas Ranger who embodied law and order. Perhaps sensing the coming backlash, Variety takes a moment to praise Norris as a brilliant athlete and top shelf star. However, it quickly pivots with the claim that there is, quote, no denying that his roles were part of a body of work used to show American strength, might, and the pernicious attraction of taking the laws into one's own hand, and apparently watching that seems less fun given current events. These people literally do this in real life and then get shocked and amazed when something terrible happens, like the Renee Good shooting. It's like you fucked around with ice and then try to run a guy over and then you get shot in the face. Like, what did you expect was going to happen? Like, rules for thee, not for me. To the absolute most extreme. When they do it, it's justified, it's right, and it needs to be done. When the perceived enemy does it, terrible, horrible. Should never ever be allowed to live a normal life ever again. Variety even suggests the current U.S. government behaves like a one-man militia, and given our nation's divisions in morality, information literacy and overall sense of reality. Norris's character are easy to read as fuel for fringe conspiracy movements than as examples of moral courage. Dude, the projection from this douchebag is amazing. Oh my gosh. I was too young to have watched Walker, Texas Ranger when I was growing up, and I think that's what I'll watch after finishing my watch of Columbo. Oh, nice. I actually want to watch Columbo. I just have one question. You picked that one. In other words, according to Variety, anyone who enjoys Chuck Norris movies and supports Trump is probably a conspiracy theorist. Glad to have dropped by, and thank you for your coverage, Greg. I hope your evening concludes well. Well, thank you, Scotty. Glad to see you stop by again. Variety closes by asking, when a star is the poster boy for American exceptionalism and might, again, these people, it baffles me that they hate America so much, and yet only in America could you be this much of a douchebag and not have something terrible happen to you. You do this any other where, and the government is super in control, you would be black bagged immediately. Amazing. Scotty, yeah, just one more thing. Just one more thing. Yeah, just one more thing. When a star is a poster bouquet, and at what point does his legacy transition from escapism to dangerous propaganda? Never mind Norris's philanthropic work. Philanthropy work. Man, I don't know why I'm having a tough time saying that word today. But anyway, never mind his perseverance on screen on and off. Never mind his devotion to God, country, and family. Reducing Norris's legacy just a day after his passing into an opportunity to create political division is not cultural criticism. It is a failure of perspective. Action films and primetime television once gave Americans something rare, a shared space to enjoy stories of courage, justice, and heroism regardless of politics. In choosing to filter that legacy through an ideological lens, Variety reveals something far more telling about itself than about Chuck Norris. The Hollywood access media may speak loudly, but it does not speak for the millions who made Norris a legend and who still understand exactly why his work resonates. Yeah. Let's see. Well, we got to know. William Earl is the guy who wrote it. Beautiful. Yep. I don't even need to say anything. There you go. It is amazing on how a simple look just explains everything. All right. Yeah, I have nothing to say. That picture spoke for itself. Oh, Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll. You have sucked so bad. And you just keep getting worse and worse. Apparently, Crunchyroll had a security breach. 100 gigabytes of user data potentially compromised. Aye. Oh no. My localized anime. A potential Crunchyroll security breach has raised alarm among anime fans worldwide. Reports indicate that up to 100 gigabytes of user data may have been compromised. The news first surfaced when the X account International Cyber Digest reported that a hacker had reached out to them with details of the alleged breach. Additionally, the hacker included screenshots suggesting they had access to Crunchyroll's IT system. Scotty says, I'm glad to have never made an account on Crunchyroll. I think I did with Funimation, but I canceled that sucker real quick after the whole Vic Mignogna situation. So Crunchyroll, the Sony-owned streaming service, told PC Mag, "We are aware of recent claims and are currently working closely with leading cybersecurity experts to investigate the matter." The company also suggested that the hackers' claims could be exaggerated. So despite these assurances, Crunchyroll subscribers remain concerned that sensitive information, including email address, IP logs, and payment details, may have been exposed in the incident. The alleged attack is reported to have occurred on March 12th of 2026. According to MSN, it was detected roughly 24 hours later. Cybersecurity sources indicate that the breach may be connected to Crunchyroll's third-party partner, TELUS. Again, International Cyber Digest notes that an employee of their outsourcing partner, TELUS, executed malware on their system, which provided a threat actor with access to Crunchyroll's environment. So far, no hacker or hacking group has claimed responsibility for the Crunchyroll security breach. Nonetheless, the incident has raised concerns among users about how well their personal information is protected on major streaming platforms. You thought you were protected. The full extent of the breach is still under investigation. In the meantime, security specialists advise that Crunchyroll subscribers proactively change passwords, enable two-factor authentication, even though I feel like I've read some, like, they've kind of figured out how to get around that as well, but I don't know. I'm saying in general, or maybe it was like a specific, I don't know. And monitor their financial accounts for unusual activity. Beyond the technical details, the alleged breach has already prompted widespread discussion within the anime community, highlighting growth concerns among fans. Oh, data breach is not my concern at all. The localization and the bastardizing of anime, that's my concern. The anime community, I don't know why I said community really wrong. The anime community has reacted with frustration and caution. Some fans have raised the possibility of a class action lawsuit. Others say, oh, that should have been done a long time ago for other reasons. Others say that Crunchyroll data breach reflects a growing trend on security incidents on streaming platforms, and ironically, Sony itself. Many users are also concerned that Crunchyroll did not respond immediately. This has become a major point of discussion online. While other streaming services offer anime, Crunchyroll remains the centralized hub, a monopoly, if you will, for the globally popular medium. No streaming service is completely immune to hacking. This illustrates the need for strong oversight and strict security standards across all parts of the digital ecosystem. I mean, when you just go to a pirating site, I mean, make sure you have your ad blocks on, do whatever you need to do to make sure that, none of that sketchy shit is good. And I mean, I never would make accounts on any, pirating site, but in terms of it being hacked, I think those sites get hacked less than actual, these main sites. Ugh. Because, instead of just being the big monopoly that Crunchyroll is, if you just allow so many other people the opportunity to also showcase and stream anime, and you had so many choices to choose from, it's almost like if some bad thing happened to one, you just go right over to the other one and hope that the other one gets resolved soon. Well, I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a homo. Crunchyroll incident also highlights a broader issue affecting streaming platforms worldwide. As reliance on third-party vendors grow, so does the potential for large-scale breaches. The key takeaways. Ultimately, the only way to minimize risk is for streaming services and the third-party vendors to prioritize cybersecurity at entry level. The Crunchyroll security breach serves as a stark reminder that even the most popular platforms can face serious threats. As the investigation into the Crunchyroll incident continues, it highlights the ongoing importance and transparency, rapid response, and robust security measures in protecting personal data. For fans, acquiring physical media of their favorite show is the truly, if unrealistic, option. Well, true, but we've seen how terrible, Funimation or Crunchyroll or whoever handles physical releases. I mean, look how they did with the Dragon Ball Z series. It took the fans' seat of might to fucking actually color correct it and finally give it to the people of what it should have been a long time ago. So we can't even rely on that because they're going to bastardize it one way, shape, or form. Users must stay vigilant, updating passwords and monitoring accounts. The Crunchyroll security breach is a wake-up call for both fans and the wider stream industry. In today's digital age, data protection can never be an afterthought. Dun, dun, dun. People using Crunchyroll deserve that, apparently, this guy states. Woohoo! Alrighty, folks. That is all I have for you guys today. So, hope you enjoyed the news. Hope you guys learned something new. I sure did. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. We were live on YouTube and Rumble and X, so you can always check me out there. And I should have links in the description below if you want to check out my other social media as well. Tomorrow we should be doing some more gaming. Ooh. Jada Delete is playing Cuphead. Let's raid him. That is a toughie game. Over on Rumble, my worthy opponent. And then over on YouTube's Vara Dark, who is, for the most part, the same schedule as me. Hence why we always raid her, but that's all right because she's awesome. Okay. Catch you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central Time. We'll see what games we start up next. Until then, have a good night. Take care. God bless. Leave a like and subscribe. Adios. Peace.